Good morning and welcome to the Morning Minute. Today I'd like to talk about letting go of the familiar, something we probably know way too much about now during the coronavirus. You know, in Genesis 19:26 it states, "But Lot's wife looked back and she became a pillar of salt." You know, letting go of the familiar is tough. We know this better now than ever before because of the coronavirus. Simple things such as going to church on Sundays, having a relaxing dinner out with friends, or just going to the grocery store without wearing a mask. This pandemic has taken an emotional toll on us. It's even more difficult now to leave behind old habits, attitudes, and behaviors. Lot's wife wasn't able to let go of her home in Sodom, even though God sent angels to warn her family to run for their lives because judgment was coming. In fact, the angels' warnings included such grave commands as, "Don't look back," and "Don't stop." So why in the world did this woman choose to stop and look back? Could it be that she loved the life she was leaving too much? Though Sodom was overflowing with sin and vice, apparently the dark and oppressive city was comfortable and familiar to Lot's wife. You know, sometimes it's difficult to leave the familiar behind. That fact is as true today as it was in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah's destruction, even when God himself is saying, it's time to move on, or in today's terms, to a new normal. If you've ever struggled with a destructive habit, you felt the pull of the familiar, even as you sensed God's nudge just to move on. You've experienced the temptation to turn back just one more time for one last look, even as God has whispered, "Don't look back." Maybe you've agonized over a loved one's downward spiral, desperately attempting to rescue them until finally God impressed upon you to just stop and let go. Unlike Lot's wife, none of us have ever become a pillar of salt by turning back for one last peek, though we all struggle with the difficulties of letting go of the old in order to grasp the new. Take heart. God understands that letting go of the familiar is hard, yet he has called us to move on to a new life in Jesus Christ by letting go of our old worldly lives, our old habits, our old dreams, to boldly move forward without looking back. When you feel God's call to move, allow him to guide you. He will give you the grace to do whatever he has asked. So in closing, I think this passage helps us see that sometimes we must let go of what feels normal for us to see God's work. You know, I think of the first disciples when Jesus said, "Come, follow me." They dropped everything that was normal, and followed him. I wonder why it's so difficult sometimes to let go of the past. And I'm not sure that it's the letting go of the past that is so hard, or just facing the new that is so scary. The unknown can be very scary. I feel we must trust that God knows what's best for us. Let go of the past, let go of what's normal, not turning back, but moving on to a life of God leading the way. So EBC family, my prayer for us today is that God will help us let go of whatever is hindering us from moving forward in our spiritual journey. Because once we do this, we will never want to look back. Amen. Thank you.